Support for Digging Deeper comes from the Penn State Alumni Association, connecting alumni to the university and to each other. The Alumni Association is powered by pride. Learn more at alumni.psu.edu. And from viewers like you, thank you.
Age can unite us. It can also divide us. Today, entire generations are lumped together in artificial groups like baby boomers, Gen X, and millennials. But for one Penn State professor, these divisions are a way to make a connection. Andrew Belser, Penn State Laureate, is the creator of FaceAge, an ambitious video installation that shows emotional interactions between young and old.
I also wish that people, when they looked at me, that they would see like a happy face, but normally in my day-to-day life, I don't look happy. I have like this glaring, determined face, and I zone out a lot, and people think I'm mad or like really mean at first impression. So I wish that people would see a happy face when they look at me.
It's a happy face.
Okay.
It's a happy face.
In this episode of Digging Deeper, Penn State President Eric Barron sits down with Andrew Belser to talk about the award-winning project.
Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining me. So you conceived FaceAge in 2012.
Right.
And what was the original conception at that time?
Well, it all started when I visited a computer science lab that does digital aging of faces. And I watched college-aged students have their faces aged digitally. This is used principally in criminology in this lab. And I watched their responses, and it was dramatic. They were sort of one of two things. Either they couldn't believe it and they needed to exercise and get to the gym. Like they thought they could forestall this whole aging.
Someone should have done it for me.
Right, me too. Or some of them, maybe 30% of them, were moved to really tears. Like it was really dramatic for them.
And you think it's because they saw their grandparents in front of them, or just because they realized they were going to get old?
You know, I started to question that. Yeah. I'm not sure I could answer that it exactly is for this reason or that reason, but there's in the study of aging, the perceptions of how we age have a lot to do with how we age in a healthy way. So if you're around aging, you're going to have a different perception of it than if you're not. And none of us really can see, particularly when we're younger, can imagine what it is to grow older. So there's a real perceptual question here.
So would it be okay if I said that if you're a very mobile generation and you've left your extended family behind, your attitude is totally different than if grandma and grandpa are in the same village, so to speak?
Right, exactly. And this is why aging and the perceptions of aging are a hot topic in research across the spectrum of gerontology, of neuroscience, of cultural studies. There's a lot of good research suggesting that the breakdown of family units, the breakdown of villages, the economic considerations of being immobile in the millennial era, has a lot to do with generations losing track of each other. And that there's something lost in that. You know, certainly there's something gained too with the mobility, and we have an active lifestyle, but there's also something lost. And I'm going to suggest that one of the things that's lost is a sense that older people have an agency or power or some real place in culture. And the thing that's lost for younger people is a sense, an embodied experience for what is aging, like living with it every day.
So initially, you're watching students watching themselves age. Right. And this is part of the original effort. But now, is it the types of topics that you're just really understanding this space? Or what is FaceAge today?
So today, it's become a multidimensional platform using film to engage generations. It's used for community engagement. It's used for, and we can talk about this more, but it's used for healthcare training professionals and workforce training. It's used for diversity and inclusion training because across the generations, people of difference are more ready to talk to each other. So today, it's really showing these films of younger and older people talking, sharing stories, studying each other's faces, and really looking into the face of aging. And it's really then becomes an experience for people to view those interactions, and it serves as a catalyst to engage generations. My feeling, and this is borne out by the people who are interested in this nationally and internationally, my feeling is that there's not a good space outside of families that have sort of held it together, farm families, some of them, or other families. There's not a good space in our culture for generations to have meaningful and lasting interactions across the generations. And there's a great deal lost in that.
I bet. So you have these films, and I looked at the subjects, and some of them I just went, well, of course, there would be a film on memory because I worry about losing my memory. And of course there would be one on mortality because as you age, you inevitably get closer to that particular point. But how did you pick the topics? Some of them aren't immediately obvious to me of why.
And they weren't obvious to us, to the filmmakers and I. No. Actually, what we did was got the people together and developed a script. Now, this is a script that you wouldn't think of it as a script necessarily, but it's a sort of a story engagement sequence to lead people through 5 different studio setups where they're going to interact with each other. Then we transcripted about 200 hours of filming. And then, so it came out to, I don't know, 150 pages of transcripts. Then we studied those transcripts.
Looked for themes.
We coded them. Yeah, we really color coded them and looked at the themes. And it turns out that there's a lot of overlap between the themes. So the themes are assumptions of aging. You know, people look at someone who's older and they make assumptions, or older people look at younger people and make assumptions. The second one is mask and deception.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time in our culture hiding aging or trying to put a good face on ourselves. And then memory and mortality. And then there's one called What the Face Holds, which is where we actually digitally age the younger people and reveal it to them while they're sitting next to someone who is 50 years older than them. It's very interesting. Very interesting to watch the younger people be moved.
Yeah.
And the kind of empathic response that the older people have in mentoring.
So this is kind of an immersive experience
It is
then.
immersive.
And so what does someone being immersed, what's their experience like?
So a lot of people ask me, why do you show it on 3 screens? So these films are shown on 3 screens.
At the same time?
At the same time. So they're really, think of it as one soundtrack, but 3 different screens that you can look at. So you could study someone's face close up, a little piece of it. You might be seeing a picture of them when they were younger while watching them talk. Or you might have all 3 screens that are showing really close-ups of faces. The immersive quality comes from my background as a theater practitioner who uses a lot of film in my work, and always have, but also comes from a lot of research around how do we learn? What is, I'm going to use a word here, neuroplasticity from neuroscience, but it's really just learning. Honestly, neuroplasticity, the changing of brain, structures and so forth, that's learning. How do we learn? We learn from experience. And we learn about aging best, not from ideas of it, but from experience. And so can we give you an embodied experience of aging by having you immersed in a surround where you actually have to become involved in the surround of it. And we have found through the years, the 6 years that this has gone on, that immersive environment is really important. to the way the work gets transmitted.
And of these 6 films, and you're doing 3 and 3, do some of them fit together, or do you mix them in?
So the way we've been showing it now is...
That's the scientist in me sneaking in there and asking about the process.
Right, right. So the way we've been showing it is 6 films back to back, and then go right back to the beginning. There's no beginning and end. So when I take this to one of the campuses or to a senior living facility or to a museum, we run it on a loop. You drop in to wherever you drop into, and you watch it for however long you want.
Now, you've already mentioned that someone might be moved to tears as they watch them age. But as you watch all this, do you have some real surprises in terms of what you see, or behaviors and reactions?
You mean from the people watching?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we first showed it last year, over a year ago now, at the Hub Robeson Center, the first day we were showing it and some people showed up and said, boy, you better put some Kleenexes in there. So now we actually have to stock the, it's very common that people go to tears. Now, I think that emotional experience is widely varied. I mean, I think it's for a lot of different reasons. I think sometimes it has to do with thinking about their own life, thinking about maybe they lost someone recently, or maybe someone's getting older, or maybe there's a part of themselves that's they feel slipping or getting older. But there's something quite impactful about, I'll just say it's a process of, I'll just think of it as osmosis, empathy osmosis, let's call it. The interactions, the empathic interactions that happen across the generations are frankly just moving. It is moving to watch older and younger people grow more vulnerable and tender, and in a certain way awkward, like be willing to be revealing more with each other. That is an essential component of this.
Yeah. That's fascinating. So I watch myself getting older, and I could see how that would be moving. And the person that's older, how is their reaction to this? Are they flashing back to their youth? Are they?
Yeah. One of the things that happens is, that's very beautiful to watch, is one of the themes through it, and it is not one of the themes of the 6 films, is that the older people watch the younger people, and they're so full of anxiety and fear between 18 and 22. They don't know how their lives are going to turn out. They want it to go well. And the older people watch this and remember when they were that age, remember some of the fears they had. And there's a quality of mentoring or eldership,
that goes,
that the older people feel really compelled to say, you know, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And the younger people immediately kind of, it becomes a warm environment where they can receive that kind of mentoring. That's that's a very surprising thing to me. I wouldn't have said, oh, I'm making a piece for younger people to feel more settled.
But they no longer see perhaps someone as overly assured of themselves or brash or, just, charging forth. They see a vulnerability that they don't see every day.
Right. They see an insecurity. There is a bit of research I'll jump to here, which is, there's in the studies of aging in the past 10 maybe years, there's a thing now called the aging paradox. And it has to do with happiness. And it turns out that in the mean, people get happier as they get older. Now that is certainly not what advertisements are telling us.
No.
It's not what we value. It's not culturally what younger people are understanding. And there's a gender difference between this. Women have a very different experience of aging than we men do. My hair can go gray and it becomes elegant. Where my wife, her hair is, might go gray, and it's a very different question for her.
Yeah.
But the larger point here is that I think we're missing this sense. Younger people actually don't know this question of the aging paradox. It's a topic of great study. There's not a conclusion around why this is.
They're seeing someone who is less able and less Not someone who's getting happier.
That's right. So the dominant narrative of aging in our culture is the loss. It's the dominant, certainly the dominant narrative in dementia.
As you're withering away.
You're
lost,
withering away.
Step by step.
Right. My skin is sagging. I'm getting age spots. I'm more achy.
Yeah.
But there is another narrative that is really compelling, and has to do with the aging paradox. And that has to do with there's a settling that happens in ourselves. Maybe you feel it. I definitely feel it at 57. Yeah. I feel a sense of, oh, I've learned. I have wisdom.
Yeah.
Well, what if we were to change our perceptions to allow that to be the dominant perception of aging?
Yeah.
That's one of the central questions.
I had a friend who said, I would get my youth back, but only if I could still have my wisdom.
That's right.
Yeah, which is fascinating, really.
Yeah. And really, as I move on with this project, through the years of learning, and I'm definitely still learning as I go out with it, this is one of the things that is so essential, is providing a space where people can really reconstruct what aging is. And maybe for themselves, maybe across the lifespan, they will live a different life then. For younger people, they'll live.
So how is it that you gather the information? You gather by watching? Are you interviewing people afterwards? Are you getting a sense of, are they communicating to you their reaction?
Well, so a number of ways. So the College of Health and Human Development, the Center for Healthy Aging, the College of Nursing, and the Center for Geriatric Nursing Excellence are all partners in this.
Nice.
And this is a really cross-disciplinary partnership. So there's been some research beginning to happen, particularly from the College of Nursing, looking at, can we, for younger people, can an artful engagement like FaceAge change perceptions of aging? From a very small data set, not over a long period of time yet.
Yeah.
The evidence is fairly compelling. And so yes, we're asking questions through research. We have response walls where people sort of pin up their responses.
Interesting. Yeah. So when you say a limited number, how many people have participated so far?
In the research?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say about 50 younger people in that research study, 35 to 50, as I seem to remember.
Yeah.
And we'd like to do a lot more with the research. In terms of engagement, in terms of education and me being out there after people watch the film, engaging with them or having it in classes, thousands of people have watched.
And you're getting global attention for this.
We're getting global attention.
And where out in the world are you?
So we showed this project. Again, the partners sort of saw that this was an opportunity.
Yeah.
So we showed it at the World Congress of Aging this summer.
Fascinating.
In San Francisco.
Yeah.
And we were frankly overwhelmed with responses from a number of different sectors. So one sector is nonprofit healthcare for aging, senior living facilities. And so we now have a partner with Leading Age. Leading Age produced the Glenn Campbell film on Alzheimer's a few years ago and disseminated it. FaceAge is their next international dissemination project. So we're in a big sphere now of intergenerational engagement. Some healthcare providers, like senior living facilities, corporations are interested in touring it around all their facilities and bringing younger people to the facilities. Universities would like to bring it in and bring older people into their universities. Medical centers are now starting to use it for training doctors and nurse workforce training. Because as our culture ages, a large percentage of patient care is in geriatrics.
Yeah.
And perceptions of aging is, from a healthcare
becomes huge.
Becomes huge.
It becomes huge. And the World Congress, is this the first taste that if you were doing this in China or you were doing this in Germany or you were doing this in Nigeria, that it would be very different than doing it in the U.S.? Or you don't know yet?
I don't know yet. I mean, I have thoughts about it.
You have to live to a very long age in order to follow through with all
I really do.
Uh-huh.
So I suspect, so I've been to China now, and Meridian is a healthcare company that wants to film a new version in China. But I suspect that in China, filming this project will be very different.
Yeah.
And we've been invited now to Canada, Argentina, some other places in the United States to film. I think aging is culture specific.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, this is just fascinating. So what do you think will be the legacy, the long-term legacy? What do you hope will happen as you begin to explore all these fascinating avenues here? It must be a lot of fun.
Oh,
but what do you think will be the lasting legacy?
Well, I hope that the lasting legacy is that we've created an intergenerational space that becomes a platform for education far and wide,
mm-hmm.
and engaging communities.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing, is that people begin to take it up and use it all over the world. But another part of it, my dream for it, and the FaceAge team's dream for it, is to create a kind of a cultural archive. Here's
mm-hmm.
what aging looks like in Pennsylvania, and here's what it looks like in North Carolina. And we can put those next to each other and look at them, and just increase the awareness of how perceptions of aging are different across the world.
Absolutely fascinating. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
I learned a lot. I wanted to watch the films while I was doing it online, but at any rate, fascinating. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Barron, that was a very meaningful conversation you had with Andrew Belser.
A lot of fun. Fascinating.
Definitely. And one of the things Andy, as he likes to be called, said in the conversation was, we spend a lot of time in our culture hiding aging. And as students, we do that. Even as we graduate, we do that, as some students did at the end of the fall semester. How can we embrace getting older instead of hiding its effects?
Well, I think he gave us some ideas to appreciate it and to begin to make those connections that maybe in this country is lost because we're not living with our grandparents or great-grandparents. We're not like that village. We're all over the place. I mean, I have a son in Arizona, a daughter in New York City, and I'm here, and so there is that separation that occurs. So, but that notion of being immersive and getting to understand what's going on and having the empathy between the two, that's very powerful.
Definitely so. And switching gears a bit here, sexual harassment. In recent years, the often hidden issue of sexual harassment has been left at the bottom of the ocean, and now it's beginning to resurface in the past few weeks, if not the past few months. And no doubt sexual harassment occurs here on this campus as well. What would you say to victims, particularly students, who are afraid to step forward about such a difficult experience?
Well, so first of all, we have a lot of ways in which you can step forward. We have a team that can make sure that this is confidential and that you can get counseling. You know, one of the major things that we must do is to make sure that a victim is a survivor. And so to have those resources makes a difference. And I have to say that I'm really happy that when we do the culture surveys, that many students, the majority of students, believe that we will keep it confidential and that we will help them if they have that as a need, which would be incredibly unfortunate. But so that's a part of it, and we do investigate and we do adjudicate. So I hope they feel like they can.
And moving on to Greek life now, Penn State has a long history with Greek life, and of course we've made some new restrictions to fraternities and sororities. What will Penn State Greek life look like moving forward?
That depends on them. So we've instituted a lot of new policies, 15 to be exact. We have taken over from the self-governance model, and we're doing the monitoring and the adjudication. We've changed what's permissible for parties, and the number of people that can be at an event can't exceed the size of a house, for example. So there are a lot of things. We have a Greek report card. This is a buyer beware. You can either look at a Greek organization as great grade points and great behavior, or you can also see the ones that aren't well behaved and don't have such great grade point. All of these things are designed to have the strong and the healthy and the ones that are focused on leadership to survive.
Thank you very much, Dr. Barron. Appreciate it.
Support for Digging Deeper comes from the Penn State Alumni Association, connecting alumni to the university and to each other. The Alumni Association is powered by pride. Learn more at alumni.psu.edu. And from viewers like you, thank you.